Good afternoon, my dear students of standard 7th. We have learned something about sources of history in my last lecture. I have also advised you to solve question answers of topic number 1. Solve those question answers, photograph it and send this photo through the medium of WhatsApp so I will check it. Today we have to begin topic number 2, India before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. So each and everyone knows about Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, the first and foremost important personality whose heroics or whose brave deeds are described, narrated and sung happily and enthusiastically all over the world, where it lives, the natives. So in this topic, we have to learn something about India before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. I hope in some of the next topics we would get the accounts of his brave deeds, but in this topic we have to know what was the circumstance, what was the situation in India before the period of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Now, when you were in standard 6th, you have learned about the various ruling powers in India. There were several ruling powers who ruled over India before the times of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. It was not only Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj who ruled over Maharashtra and some states in India, but there were some other several rulers. Who were those ruling powers? Let us see through this lesson, India before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. Pal in the 8th century was a famous dynasty in Bengal. Pal. Pal was a famous dynasty in Bengal. In central India, the Gurjar Pratihar power spread up to Andhra, Kalinga, Vidarbha, West Kathiawar, Kannauj and Gujarat. In central India, it was the dynasty of Gurjar Pratihar. Gurjar Pratihar existed in central India. The locations of the Gurjar Pratihara was spread to Andhra Pradesh, Kalinga, Vidarbha, West Kathiawar, Kannauj and Gujarat. Among the Rajput dynasties means royal families. Among the royal families of the Rajputs in North India, the Gahadwal and the Parmar dynasties were the important ones. In North India, Gahadwal. Gahadwal and the Parmar. North India. Among the Rajput, Prithviraj Chauhan was belonging to the Chauhan dynasty. He was a valiant king. He was a brave king. Prithviraj Chauhan. Among the Rajputs, Prithviraj Chauhan was a brave king of the Chauhan royal family. In the first war at Tarai, Prithviraj Chauhan had defeated Muhammad Ghori. There was a battle at Tarai between Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad Ghori. In this battle, Prithviraj Chauhan had defeated Muhammad Ghori, but Muhammad Ghori defeated Prithviraj Chauhan in the second war at Tarai. Again, it means two battles happened between Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad Ghori at Tarai. In the first battle at Tarai, Prithviraj Chauhan defeated Muhammad Ghori, but in the second battle which took place at the same place, that is Tarai, Muhammad Ghori defeated Prithviraj Chauhan. Raj I and Rajendra I belonging to the Chola dynasty in Tamil Nadu. Now Chola dynasty. Chola dynasty came into existence in Tamil Nadu. I have not written the kings here. Rajraj I and Rajendra I belonged to the Chola dynasty in Tamil Nadu. They were eminent rulers. They were very powerful rulers. The Cholas conquered the Maldives Islands and Sri Lanka using their naval strength. The naval strength of the Cholas was very powerful, was very strong. The Chola kings made use of their naval power and won the Maldives Islands and Sri Lanka. King Vishnuvardhan, belonging to the Hoysala dynasty in Karnataka. King Vishnuvardhan, belonging to the Hoysala dynasty in Karnataka. Hoysala dynasty in Karnataka. King Vishnuvardhan belonged to the Hoysala dynasty in Karnataka, had conquered the whole of Karnataka. He had won the whole of Karnataka. Whom? King Vishnuvardhan. This King Vishnuvardhan belonged to the Hoysala dynasty, royal family. During the reign of Govind III of the Rashtrakoot dynasty in Maharashtra, the Rashtrakoot power spread from Kanauj up to Rameshwar. There was such a long expansion of the Rashtrakoot power. Govind III of the Rashtrakoot dynasty in Maharashtra. Rashtrakoot dynasty, Maharashtra. Govind III belonged to the Rashtrakoot dynasty which prevailed in Maharashtra. The expansion or the ruling power of Rashtrakuta spread from Kanauj up to Rameshwar. Later, Krishna III conquered the region up to Allahabad. During the time of Govind III, it was expanded from Kanauj to Rameshwar, but when Govind III was replaced by Krishna III, he won. Krishna III was the king of Rashtrakoot dynasty who succeeded to the throne after Govind III, and he won the region up to Allahabad. He conquered the region up to Allahabad. Three dynasties of the Shilaharas emerged in western Maharashtra. Shilahars. Shilahars in western Maharashtra Shilaharas emerged in Western Maharashtra means they came up, they established their rule or power in Western Maharashtra. One dynasty ruled over Thane. One dynasty of the Shilahars ruled over Thane and Raigad in North Konkan. The second dynasty of the Shilahars in South Konkan, while the third dynasty of the Shilahars ruled over some part of the present-day Kolhapur, Satara, Sangli and Belgaum districts. So how many dynasties were there of the Shilahars? 3 dynasties. Once again, I would repeat, there were 3 dynasties of the Shilahars came up into power in Western Maharashtra. The first dynasty of the Shilahars ruled over Thane and Raigad in North Konkan. The second dynasty of the Shilahars established their power in South Konkan, whereas the third dynasty of the Shilahars ruled over some parts of the present-day Kolhapur, Satara, Sangli and Belgaum districts. So, my dear boys, what we have learned on page number 5 of India before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. Pal powers in Bengal, Gurjar Pratihar power in Central India, Gadwal Parmars in North India. These were the powers in Bengal, Central India and North India. We also learnt about the Rajputs. We also learned about the valiant and brave, powerful king Prithviraj Chauhan, who had defeated Muhammad Ghori in the first battle at Tarai. But unfortunately, in the second battle, which took place at the same place Tarai, Muhammad Ghori took revenge. He defeated Prithviraj Chauhan. Now, we also saw that Chola dynasty was come into existence in Tamil Nadu. Hoysala dynasty had come up in Karnataka. It had won almost all the parts of Karnataka. We have seen the Rashtrakuta dynasties had prevailed in Maharashtra. Now there were 3 Shilahar dynasties. They had come up in Western Maharashtra. I have given you details of all the 3 dynasties of the Shilahars. Now we are going to learn about the last prosperous power before the period of Shivaji Maharaj, which was the last prosperous power. The Yadavas were very powerful. The Yadavas was very powerful. They had come up in the last period of the time before Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. The capital of Bhillam, Yadav fifth of the Yadav dynasty was at Devgiri near Aurangabad. Bhillam, Yadav fifth. The Yadavs Aurangabad. The Yadavas had established their capital at Devgiri, which is near Aurangabad. He made expansion of his rule beyond the river Krishna. The Yadav period is considered to be the golden period of Marathi language. The Yadav period is considered as the golden period of Marathi language. and literature. It was in this period that the Mahanubhav Pantha and the Warkari movement emerged. The Mahanubhav Pantha and the Warkari movement came up or brought into limelight during the time of the Yadavas. Mahanubhav Pantha. During the regime of the Yadavas, the Mahanubhav Pantha and the Warkari movement came up. Now, after introduction on the powers which prevailed in India before the times of Shivaji Maharaj, now we would learn something about attacks or invasions from the northwest. Invasions. Invasions or the foreign attacks from the northwest. Local dynasties like the Yadavas and Rashtrakuta ruled in Maharashtra. Which were the local dynasties? Local means dynasties or the royal families belonging to that area. The royal families which belong to that area were known as the local dynasties. They were the Yadav and Rashtrakuta. They ruled in Maharashtra. But invaders from the northwest won the local dynasties there and established their own rule. But there were attackers or the enemies of these Yadavas and Rashtrakutas. They were known as attackers or invaders. They came from the northwest side of India. And they had won the local dynasties. Which were the local dynasties? The Yadav and the Rashtrakuta. They defeated the Yadav and the Rashtrakutas and established their own rule. Means the foreign invaders established their rule. In the meanwhile, the Arab power had come up in the Middle East. The Arabs had come up in the Middle East. Arab rulers turned towards India to expand their empire. It drew attention of the Arabs. The Arabs thought that India is a worthy and good market to establish and expand their trade empire. So they turned their attention. The Arabs turned their attention to India. Muhammad bin Qasim was the Arab general. He attacked the Sindh province. Who? Muhammad bin Qasim. Muhammad bin Qasim attacked the Sindh area, the Sindh region in the 8th century. Notwithstanding the resistance of King Dahir, he conquered the province of Sindh. King Dahir was the ruler in the Sindh province. He resisted stiffly to the attack of Muhammad bin Qasim, the Arab general. But Muhammad bin Qasim defeated King Dahir of Sindh province and won the province of Sindh. Muhammad bin Qasim won the Sindh province. To whom did he defeat? King Dahir. Now, due to this expedition or campaign, or expedition, the Arabs came into political contact with India for the first time. Muhammad bin Qasim defeated King Dahir and won the province of Sindh. After this battle or after this fight, the Arab leaders or the Arab rulers came into political contact with India for the first time. In the period that followed, Turks, Afghans and Mughals from Central Asia came to India and established their power here. So who had come and grabbed the province of India after the Arabs? Turks. Afghans, Mughals. After the Arabs, Turks, Afghans and Mughals emerged into India and they established their power here. In the 11th century, Christian era, the Turks began to invade India. It was the 11th century, Turks invaded or attacked India. They had to make expansion of their territories. They had to make expansion of their region, so they reached the northwestern frontiers of India. Who? The Turks. The Turks made their travel. The Turks traveled to the northwestern frontier of India. Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni attacked India 3 times. Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni attacked India 3 times. He plundered the rich temples at Mathura, Vrindavan, Kanauj and Somnath. He plundered means he looted. He robbed these temples. He collected all the valuable things from the temples at Mathura, Vrindavan, Kanauj and Somnath and carried away enormous wealth with him. Indians were and are religious. Whenever they visit the temples, they offer something precious and valuable at the feet of the Lord, whose temple is constructed there. So there was and is huge deposits and treasures of gold, silver, coins, as well as coins and notes of exchange. There were some other precious and valuable things. So when Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni attacked these places, he came to know that there is enormous wealth in these temples. So he looted the temples, he robbed the rich temples at Mathura, Vrindavan, Kanauj and Somnath and carried away plenty of wealth with him. The world famous enriched library of the Nalanda University was burnt down by the Bakhtiyar Khalji. Bakhtiyar Khalji was also an invader. He was also a foreign ruler. He had seen the rich Nalanda University, so he became envious, he became jealous, and he burned down this famous Nalanda University. So it was burned down by Bakhtiyar Khalji, who the world famous rich library of the Nalanda University was burned down by Bakhtiyar Khalji. So My dear boys and girls, we have to begin Sultanate in the north, but we will begin this point in the next course of lecture. So, in the lesson that we have begun today, that is India before the times of Shivaji Maharaj, I introduced the topic to you. I told you that we have to learn something about the rulers and dynasties which were very powerful before the times of Shivaji Maharaj, and we studied them briefly. Now again, in introduction, I told you that the Yadavas from Aurangabad, golden period of Marathi language, it was during the time of the Yadavas. The Mahanubhav Pantha, the Warkari movement also came into limelight during the time of the Yadavas. Then we also paid attention to the invasions of the foreign rulers. Who were the foreign rulers? The Arabs came from Middle East. Muhammad bin Qasim, Sindh province. After Muhammad bin Qasim, Turks, Afghans and Mughals emerged into India because they were attracted to the huge wealth and other valuables which were deposited in the regime of these rulers. Even I told you that the Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni looted the rich temples at Mathura, Vrindavan, Kanauj and Somnath, and he carried away enormous wealth with him. And thereafter, the world famous rich library of the Nalanda University was devastated and burnt down by Bakhtiyar Khalji. So, with this statement, I conclude today's lecture. Please go through it, read it. If you have textbooks, if you have purchased textbooks, read page number 5 of India before the times of Shivaji Maharaj so that you will understand what we have taken now. Thank you. Have a good time to all of you.